Hello everybody, so today I want to talk about how we can have better conversations. And I reflected on this because I found myself in some situations in dinner parties and there was this awkward silence and then someone tries to start having conversations and I could see that it was not going so well. And I think if you can become a person who can have better conversations, might lead to that people find you more interesting. They might feel better around you, and hopefully that can lead to better relationships, better job opportunities, or new clients for business, for example. So I think that can be a good topic to investigate. So I did a little research and I investigated the biggest mistakes I find that people make when they have conversations. And then I investigated how one could invert those to make the opposite, to have better conversations. Because I find that inverting can be a very powerful strategy of finding what you want. One of my idols, Charlie Munger, he used that a lot in order to find what he wanted. For example, if you're gonna have a vacation, for example, you can write down all the things that you don't like with a vacation or that you wouldn't like to do. For example, maybe you're a person who don't like to not have any plans, for example. So to just have lots of free time, for example. And maybe you don't like to go camping, or you don't like to take long walks or spend times in malls, for example. Well, then when you and your family are planning the vacation, you can just, if you make sure to avoid those things, you will have a pretty decent vacation. So sometimes that can be easier than actually just focusing on what you want. Because then maybe someone makes the suggestion, oh, I want to go to the mall or I want to go camping, and then you agree to it, but then you actually will have the worst situation ever. So sometimes it can be awesome knowing what to avoid. So let's apply this in the subject of having better conversations. So the first mistake I see people make, and I've done this myself, is having shallow conversations about subjects that we think the other people might find interesting. So for example, if you are around a dinner table and this awkward silence arises, and you know that one of the people there is from the UK, from London or somewhere in the UK, and you, to break the silence, you ask, oh, so I've heard that people drink lots of tea in the UK, is that right? So that can be an example of you just start a conversation because you know that is a subject they know something about or about their culture, and you want to start talking about that. But actually it has no real interest if you're not a super big fan of tea, for example. So it has little or no interest to that person, and it has no real interest to you. You're just talking for the sake of not enjoying the silence together. It could also be just polite questions about how's work doing, how's your work going, and even though we're not interested in actually how it's going, we're just asking to be polite. So this can be summarized in the first mistake, that is talking about shallow subjects, about subjects we think that the other person might find interesting. The second mistake I see people do is they use the word I, me, and mine too often when they talk. They really think that the world circulates around them and that they are the center of the universe. And you can hear some people use the word I or me or mine in almost every other sentence that they use. And very often other people start to get bored because they know that the universe is not revolving around them, but it is not obvious to that person. And it quickly becomes very boring to listen to. So the second mistake is talking too much about yourself, using I, me, and mine too often. The third mistake is one that I see people do unconsciously, And I think it has to do with them feeling insecure about being in that group of people. And first I thought this is something that is more common among men, but I definitely know women also who use this. And it's putting other people down in order to feel better yourself or feel like the leader in the group. So you slightly put others down in order to feel this. And it can be, men kind of do it to set who is the alpha in the group. But there are definitely other ways of doing this. But some people always do this, and it slightly makes other people uncomfortable or feel a little bit bad about themselves. And then automatically that person thinks that they are the leader of the group. While this might not actually be the case. It just seems like that for the moment. And I think women do it a lot to express a hierarchy, both for themselves and for others. Maybe they need to prove a point that they have a certain status or a certain degree of education or something, and they need to prove to others that they are good enough. So they have done it. I've seen them do it in that situation. Maybe that's true for men also, but I think men is more about this, who is the alpha in the group, and that might come a little bit from when we were hunter-gatherers, when we were the group needed to have a strong leader. So I think that's a little bit more. It has a sense of purpose, but there are other ways one can achieve this, so that are much better. So. But this will work temporarily, but afterwards other people will actually feel really bad around you, and they actually don't want to hang around you. So if you're using this consciously or unconsciously, know that people will start to not like being around you. Even though it might seem like it, they actually you might create a lot of enemies while doing this. Fourth mistake is forgetting people's names. So I hear a lot of people who say, I'm so bad with names, or can you please repeat your name? And what you're saying when you say that is that you're not such an important person to me. Can you please remind me who you are? So, I think most people don't spend any effort learning other people's names and calling people by name. So they always need to ask, sorry, what was your name again? And you just feel how that feels when you say that. It says that the other person is totally invincible. They're not important to me, so not learning people's names is a great way to make other people feel bad about themselves and about you. Next mistake is forgetting details about previous conversations. So this summer I was having my bike repaired. I had flat tires. I needed to have a new tire on the bike, and so I went there to the place, and I left my bike, and I had a conversation with the person owning the place, and it was fun. It turned out that he knew my father, so he knew my family, who we were, and we had a conversation. He asked, maybe your wife knows your family. So we had a kind of a conversation about that we had, that our families knew each other and so on, and talked for a little while. So I left the bike there, showed what I needed repaired, and I went off. Then when I was coming back to pick up the bike, when I came and I saw him, he just looked at me like, and he was, okay, what do you want? Like this. And I said, I'm gonna get my bike. He was like, what bike? And the bike I came here 2 days ago to live. And so he had no memory of who I was and what conversation we had. And sadly, that was probably his way of having customer service. So he tried to be really nice and polite with people, but maybe he met so many people that he had difficulty doing this, or I don't know what, but that just made me feel like, I was completely invincible to this person, and he actually don't remember a single thing, and it made me just feel, is it something wrong with this guy, or what happened with this guy? Because we had this conversation about our family and everything that should be rememberable. So, but he had no idea of that. So if you meet someone and really want to make them feel either like you are a little bit stupid or that they are invincible, just totally forget about all the past conversations that you had, and then you will definitely accomplish that. So mistake number 6 is talking without stopping. So I've met a few people who do like this, that they simply just cannot stop. They say every thought that comes into their mind, and they don't know how to stop talking. They say every little thought and expresses that, and they kind of almost take you hostage when you're listening to them and when they're talking to you. And if you're a good listener and they see that you listen, they will never stop. You need to find a way out on that conversation. So I had one a coworker like this when I in a company I worked in Stockholm many years ago, and he used to just come into my office and just start talking, and then he never stopped. He didn't stop. He talked about everything and nothing at the same time. It was very little substance to what he was saying, but he just would not stop. And this was in my 20s, so I felt it would be too impolite, too abrupt, or to stop, to make an excuse. But after I looked at the clock, then about 1 hour had gone, and I just needed to make an excuse. Now I need to work here. I'm sorry, I have a meeting or something like this. But that is definitely a way to make others feel. It feels like a hostage situation, that you cannot breathe, or that you cannot get room for your own thoughts, or that the person is absolutely have no interest in you other than just dumping all their mind's chatter on your table. So these were the 6 mistakes that most people make. And if we go through them again, so number 1, shallow subjects that we hope the others will find interesting. Number 2, only talking about ourselves. Number 3, trying to put others down in order to feel important ourselves and to feel as the leader. Number 4, forgetting the name of other people. Number 5, forgetting details of previous conversations. Number 6, talking without stopping. So just by avoiding these, you will have better conversations than most people. But I think we also should dig a little bit in what happens when we invert these. What is the opposite of these mistakes? So we can become really good at conversating and interacting with other people, so that they will feel like you're an important person, that they're important, that they want to talk with you again, all these things to become a more refined person when talking with other people. So if we invert the first one, shallow subjects that we hope other people will find interesting, if we invert that, we have deep subjects that we know others find interesting. Deep subjects that we know others find interesting. So this is a much better way of having a conversation with another person. So if we find out what interest the other person has, and then we talk about that, then we find some common ground to talk about that. For example, I met one couple some weeks ago, and their son, he's 10 years old. His biggest dream is to become a farmer, and that's quite rare and unusual for a 10-year-old. And then I met the son, and I said, "Hi, you must be so-and-so, and I heard about that you want to become a farmer." And his eyes just lit up when I said that. And then we had like half an hour conversation, and it just became so obvious that was his biggest passion. He knew the prices of cows. He had been asking to to visit different farms, to have an internship in one place, and I told about one person that I know who runs a farm in Sweden. Maybe he could go there, and we just had a really passionate, really awesome conversation, because I saw that was something that he was passionate about. And for me, talking about the subjects that someone is passionate about is really interesting, because then I might learn something, and I love learning things. So you see how instead of just talking about some shallow subject like how's school going or something, and he would have just said fine, and then went off. We talked about his biggest passion, and then instead it became a really deep, fun, passionate conversation. So and it also deepened the relationship with his parents, because they saw that like I had a genuine interest in their family, and gave ideas how he could develop this interest. So try to find out what subject the other person is really passionate about. Maybe it's something that they work with, or maybe it's some hobby that they have on their free time. Maybe it's an instrument that they're learning, or they're learning a language, or like travel to other countries, or something that they're really passionate about. And usually when you talk about these things, then you will start having more deep, fun conversations. So the second mistake was only talking about yourself. So if we invert that, we have talking about the other person. We put them in the center of attention. Can you remember some time when you had a conversation and then they put you in the focus? They put you in the spotlight, and they talked about you, your dreams, your aspirations, and your life. And how did that make you feel? Probably amazing, you know. I have a couple friends like this, and always when I talk with these people, I feel really good afterwards, and I take good decisions, and they make me feel in a good way, and it's amazing, you know. So when we put another person in the spotlight and talk about their problems, their dreams, their aspirations, then they will feel so good that they want to continue talking with you and talk with you again. And why is this so? Because if you think about an average person, they probably are undervalued at work. Their boss complains to them. Then they come home, their spouse, their husband or their wife complain to them. Their kids complain. And they feel that they always serve other people all the time, and they never have anything for themselves. So if you can, when you listen to them, if you can make them feel like important and put them in the center, they will feel amazing, and then they want to talk with you again. So that is a great way for having better conversations. If you need more clients for your work, for example, or in sales, or need to have new friends, for example. So many people are lonely, and they don't know how to approach others. And when they approach others, they only talk about themselves. You know, I've seen this quite a few times. When you meet people who don't have so many connections, and then they talk, and then they start talking so much because they haven't talked in a while, and then they only talk about themselves, and they show no interest in you, because when they're alone, they have become so stuck in their own mind and only talk about themselves. So for them, I would definitely recommend learning these things, because then people want to hang out with you more. You will not like pull other people down into your energy. You will more and you won't become needy. People will want to hang out with you again if you do these things. So third mistake was trying to put others down in order to feel as a leader or in charge yourself. So if we invert that, it will be lifting others up will also make you important and a leader. You know, if you lift other people up all the time, they will love to be around you, you know. And if they love to be around you, who is the leader? It's you, you know. So that works as efficiently, you know, and it makes everyone just feel better. So if you're a team, let's compare it. You have a boss or someone who's a team leader, and then you have the team. And the boss goes to complain about the people all the time, saying what they're doing wrong just to protect his own position. Well, we take another team. They have the leader who compliments everyone all the time. Oh, you're doing this so great, Oh, so amazing work, Let's keep that up, Try a little harder here, and then you will make it, because I know you have so good skills in this. Compliments and lifts people up, points out their strengths. He will also be the leader, and they will love working for him, and they have created a positive cycle of a work environment in the team to produce much, much better result than the other one. Probably they also have problems and things that they need to solve, but where does the leader have most trust? I definitely think the one who has been praising more and lifting people up, rather than the one who is pushing down all the time. The fourth mistake was forgetting the names of others. So if we invert that, we have remembering the names of others. So there's a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. And this was one of Warren Buffett's favorite books. And in this one, they say that the author writes that the favorite word in each language, the favorite word in any language, is someone's own name. So I really try to use this. And when I see my friends, for example, I say, hey, Adam, hey, Peter, hey, Lisa, for example. And students also, when I meet them, I use this, because it just makes you... It just makes the other people feel that you see them. And I think that's important, because I think many people are lonely in society. So I think if more people would use other people's names, I think that would be a good thing, and people would feel more seen, and it would create better relationships in society. So I think this is a great principle. Many years ago, when I was in India, I had one friend there, and he's from Sweden also, and he was interested in getting to know the Indian community, the people who worked in the stores and this. So whenever he met someone, he asked what their name was, and then they said some really difficult name in Hindi, and that was for us as a Swedish person, it would be very difficult to understand. And then he wrote it down, and he made sure that he wrote it down correctly, and he repeated it to them. Is this the way to pronounce it, like this? So and then he wrote down a little paragraph of who the person was, and maybe if they had a conversation, what their interest was, or where they work, or like this. One of my classes, I had one guy that was a participant, that was a student. He talked about that he had bought one house, and that he was renovating and changing the heating system, the air condition to make the air hot, we use here in Sweden. So, and then I did not see him in the group there for quite a few months, maybe 6 months, something. And then the next time he showed up, I asked him, how's it going with the renovation? How did you find a good heating system? And he was shocked. He was like, do you really remember what you talk about? And he was really impressed by that. And for me, I had not thought about this during this conversation. It's just something that I have practiced so that I do, because then I know how important that skill is. So I really practice to use that, to ask questions about people and remember what we talk about. So I highly recommend trying that out to see what happens, see what happens when you use other people's names, and when you remember things about them. And that also leads up to the fifth mistake, that forgetting details of previous conversations. And then the inversion of that will be remembering details of previous conversations. So I can highly recommend you try that out. Number 6, the sixth mistake, talking with no stop, without stopping. So if we invert that, to me that would be deep listening deeply. I've done that mistake quite a few times, especially I don't know why, but if I meet someone who is much smarter than me, who has come much longer, and I feel a little bit insecure, I start talking a lot to maybe to impress them, or to feel that I'm as good as they are or something. But it would be much better if I just shut up and ask questions and listen, because if they have come further in business, for example, or have some skill that I want to learn from, this would be like, if I listen to them and shut up, it would be like getting advice maybe that costs $200 per hour that someone would charge for that, but then you would get it for free. So it's much smarter it's much smarter to be listening rather than talking when other people are smarter than you. And then when you listen deeply, then you will start to see that you also listen to what they say, but also what they don't say. So you actually start to listen with your subconscious mind, So you hear all the words, but you're also getting a sense of who this person is, and if they're a good person or not. You maybe get... this can be different for different people, but when you really listen both to the other person and your own impulses, you will get a sense of who is a good people to be around and not, So most people, when they listen to other people speaking, they are so stuck in their own mind thinking about what to say next, and they don't actually listen at all. They have zero listening skills, or very, very few. Very, very shallow listening when they listen to the other person. I would say maybe the next step is to listen deeply to what they're saying. Pay really close attention to them, and to learn what they're saying, to not be so focused in your own mind, but to just let them talk. And the step below that would be to also listen to your own impulses at the same time, how you feel for the other person, and what you feel in the body, and how what things happen. Because someone who is good for you will probably feel good afterwards, after hanging out with that person. But if you feel weird, or if you feel drained, or if you feel strange afterwards, usually it's maybe not such a good person to be around. So, and I'm a big believer that we should have healthy, good quality relationships. And the better quality people we can spend time around, the better life we will have. So Monish Pabrai, who investor from India who lives in the US, he really talks about the importance of spending time with high quality people. So he made sure to become friends with Charlie Munger and have many meetings with him. And then he also made sure to become friends with Charlie Munger's friends. So because he knows that if you hang around smart, good individuals, then good things will happen. So it's really a good quality skill to feel which people are good or not. So it's kind of a continuation of the conversations. Because also, if you're around these high quality people, if you do these mistakes, the most common mistakes that most people make, you will not get a second meeting with these people. So in order to hang around them, you need to practice good conversation principles and be an interesting person to be around. Because otherwise they will just find some excuse when you try to meet them the next time. So if you practice these 6 inversions of the mistakes, the 6 better habits of conversations, then you also have a higher chance of being in rooms with high quality people and becoming friends with them. And I think that will have a really good impact on your life. Just take the other example. If you hang around in a group with criminals, for example, what would happen? Then that would probably turn out to many bad spiral downwards. So if we invert that, if you hang around really high quality people, good things will happen. So use these principles to improve your relationships, to, if you're lonely, to find friends, or to find a partner. If you are in business, to find more customers or new clients or new partners. So hope this helps. If you have any questions, just write, and it would be fun to see how you use these principles. Awesome. See you soon. Bye bye.